Oh, well, black don't crack.
You're watching Del Weston's Action on Film. We'll be right back.
All right.
I love that.
Bye.
Hey, Mark, wait a second. Mark, guess who's here?
Who? Derek? Get his ass in here. Get him in here.
I'm speechless. And that's rare because I've got a speech impediment that won't allow me to stop words from dribbling from my mouth like cold peas from a baby's.
See, he went somewhere he didn't know where to go with it. Go ahead. No, you're doing good.
From a baby's
We'll watch.
unhappy moments at the kitchen table. I'm speechless because I've got two talented people with me here today. Colleen McQuaide, writer, now producer, and filmmaker. And of course, my co-host, Mr. Mark Giardino. You know him. You've seen him. Colleen just gave him a zinger.
She did.
She gave Mark a zinger off
Buckled
camera.
my knees.
She said, you seem a little timid, a little defensive there.
Intimidated
A little intimidated by the
Mr.
great Del Weston, whose only job in life is to bring you the happy news that you're special. And you are. And you are. You came to the AOF, another convert, I might add.
That's correct.
Because it's a tough road
Yes.
to believe in anything anymore. And when you see a festival like the one we create, it's easy to think, well, it's not a big deal. It's not. We have the greatest filmmakers and writers in history as part of that event. I have to say,
That's true.
all over the world, every background, diverse, every culture, race, and almost language you can speak, they're in the AOF. From Africa, China, Germany, Spain, France, America, they're there.
That's right.
What a great, great blend of people.
That's right. They're working. They're close. They're friendly.
They collaborate with you too if you want.
That's right.
I can't tell you how many filmmakers and writers are working together now from the AOF on. It's an amazing thing to me. I love the family attitude that this festival has been able to be a part of.
Yeah, filmmakers need to collaborate, and screenwriters need to move forward out of screenwriting to get their work produced. Otherwise, you're just stuck. And I saw an email come around the other day from one of the local stores that does seminars, and the topic was "Screenwriting is dead, get out." You have 2 years, and someone is pushing screenwriters through a seminar at a well-known screenwriting
You can say what it is. It doesn't hurt
It's
anybody.
the writer's store.
Yeah, writer's store. Listen, there's nothing. You're just making a comment. We're not putting anybody
Right,
down. God bless them.
right.
If that's their stance, God bless them.
So,
By the way, you were right. You've
Yes.
intimidated Mark into silence. You
I'm just.
You hit him so hard, so fast,
No,
with that
no.
left hook. He won't say a word.
the topic. The topic.
Don't worry, I can fend for myself, Colleen.
It's the topic was screenwriting is dying, get out, and it's going to be gone in 2 years, and that you should go into greeting card writing, government document processor, and or in copywriter. And I say to myself, well, aren't there other options? Like learn how to produce your own projects, collaborate with a filmmaker to say, I know how to write, let's do something. And that's one of the things you see at the AOF. And I know you can attest to this, I can attest to that. It's very real.
People support you at
Yes.
Action on Film.
Yes.
And I was, one of my most gratifying moments with the show was 4 years ago we were having our award show and dinner, and I looked over and I noticed there's 3 tables, not of filmmakers, but of writers who had purchased tickets to the award show to support the filmmakers. And those tickets aren't cheap.
Right.
And I was,
Right.
that's pretty amazing to see that kind of support for people who have no chance of winning anything because they're not in that event.
That's right.
But they just came to
Right.
support their filmmaking
Right.
friends. I thought that was absolutely beautiful.
And speaking of writers, you have the written word category, and a lot of film festivals don't have a category for scripts.
How could you not have a category for scripts? Your film is made up of scripts. Why don't people understand that writers are not to be marginalized? They are the creative force
Thank
behind
you.
the creation of every single film
Thank
you will
you.
ever see.
There
Am
is
I
no
wrong
film.
about?
There's
am
no
I-
film without the written word. How can you have to have it.
And you have a special dinner for the writers.
Well, go ahead, Mark.
My wife, by the way, in USC, my wife is very involved in USC. She went to school there. My daughter went to school there. But she's on the board of libraries, and the library is a very big part of that university. And they have one of the most prestigious awards called the Scripter Award every year, which is an awards dinner strictly for the best written word adaptation from a book, because there are libraries every year. And it's not only incredible what someone can do creating their own characters on it, but the ability to be able to make an adaptation that a writer does. It's very, very difficult because you have to be creative within a format that's already somewhat predetermined for you. And so I've always felt that if without the writer,
You got nothing.
you have nothing. You start with nothing and you're going to end up with nothing.
Let's talk about Happy Acres when we come back.
Okay.
You're watching Del Weston's Action on Film. My very special guest today, the beautiful and talented Colleen McQuaide. Next to her, the beautiful and talented Mark
A
Giardino.
very intimidated one, by
And
the way.
next to him, a desk with a paper cup of water. We'll be right back.
I'll work more overtime. Please.
This is Sunny Hill.
No more experiments!
When Sunny gets dumped, fired, and evicted,
I could use a fresh start.
I have a client that is a perfect match for your product director position.
she lands a dream job in the country.
We're living here?
Welcome to the neighborhood.
All my life I dreamed of living in the country.
Is this what you call the good life?
Then she hits a rough patch.
No. I think you're confused. Do you have a license to operate a campground?
Everything's great, sir.
Welcome back to the show. Talk to me about Happy Acres. What is it? Where did it come from? Where's it going?
Happy Acres is about a city girl who she loses her job, she gets dumped by her boyfriend, and she moves to the country with the kids, only to find that she has to battle a wily country convict to save the neighborhood. So it's a family-friendly comedy script, and I started moving out of acting into screenwriting because of what happened to me when I moved to my development.
What happened?
Well, it was sort of English manor house in the country, 75 acres, maybe 10 or 11 homes. One of the first things that happened was a fox hunt through the development, and there were goats and chickens, and I was chased with a tractor. And so, but there was a lot of drama, and then comedy came out of drama. And
Comedy and drama are linked into
yes,
him.
absolutely. So I said, I'm going to learn to write. I'm going to write about this. I'm going to embellish, and that's what I did. And then I started to crank a lot of scripts. I graduated from UCLA's professional program in screenwriting. I found my way.
Talk to me about that. What's it like going through a screenwriting program at a prestigious higher learning university like UCLA?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful for many ways. For one thing, I got in. For another, you have the collaboration, the creativity, the friendship, the connections, the guidance, and eventually I nailed rewrite from that. And then when I nailed that, then I thought, my scripts are ready. I'm going to, take them out. And that's when I then entered the AOF because I thought, well, this is in Movie Maker magazine's top 25 film festivals worth the price. And I thought, I wonder how many of these take scripts.
Yeah.
And there weren't many, and
Yeah.
the AOF was one.
I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me. But I am so tired of endorsements. I want people to come out, and not from you, but I'm so tired of, well, Movie Maker is a wonderful magazine, and I'm glad they exist. But my hope for the Action on Film Festival was that people would come experience and then say, this is something I want to be a part of, and I want to spread the word about it. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't do advertising very early on. I said, you know what, it'll grow or it'll fail, and then I'll know if I should continue with it or not. And now, 1 decade in, it's going to continue. I think it'll be a very big affair as we keep moving it forward on a structured plan.
Right.
And we have so many success stories from writers.
I was just going to say, the alumni is amazing.
It is. I'm blown away.
It's true.
I want to tell you a quick story when we come back about one of the new writers who had some success with us. And Mark might even say something in the next segment.
Possible.
What's your advice to people about black? Because you never have any other vote. What is your advice for that subject?
For what?
For black.
Oh, well, black don't crack.
You're watching Del Weston's Action on Film. We'll be right back. Who's your favorite writer?
You know, that's a very difficult thing to say.
Why?
Because writing takes on so many different colors. So if you asked me who I thought was the best throughout time, it probably would be Shakespeare.
Wrong. How about you?
Wait.
Well, I like
This guy's he's so seldom right, it's incredible. But because it's called Del Weston on Film.
Del Weston's Action on Film.
Whatever it's
They
called,
changed
I
the
keep
title
forgetting.
on me.
I acquiesce to him.
Don't acquiesce.
But in a moment, you'll see that I'm going to put him back in his place as soon as
I
he explains who I'm
got a scar across his shoulder.
I don't know anybody that could write something hundreds of years ago that people today still can't even catch up to where he was at hundreds of years ago.
Maybe he was a Martian.
Well, I never considered that prospect.
I'll tell you.
He's wrong.
No, I'll tell you. It's a great point you just
Wait,
made. And I want to
let her
discuss it. But
answer first.
who is your favorite writer?
I have a list, and Richard Linklater, for instance, is on the list.
Why are you so timid? I love how timid you are.
The person
You're like a rose that's just about to open. You're brilliant.
There's so many current writers. Well, I mean, I like David Mamet.
Is she answering now, or is that?
No, but you keep interrupting her.
Did you just intimidate her?
Distract you.
He's like
Go
a
ahead.
strong arm guy in a knife fight. Go ahead.
It is okay. There's a spectrum of writers that I admire and whose work that, like the writer of Some Like It Hot, and I know my memory and names are fading me, and the writer John Hughes. Of all of the Home Alone and all of that.
You're wrong too. The greatest writer.
Day Off.
You're still wrong. The greatest writer who ever lived, without question,
He wants to say my name, and I don't like that.
is
Go ahead.
John
modest.
Updike. Now,
Okay.
I recently read.
Why do you say that?
Can I finish?
I wish you would.
You're like Jason Statham in the new film The Intimidator, starring Mark Giardino. They challenged Hemingway to write a story in 6 letters or less that would make a grown man cry. And they said, can you do that? And he said, yes. And I like Hemingway, but he ultimately was a failure toward the end. But he wrote these 6 words regarding a story that would make a grown man cry. Baby shoes for sale, never worn. You're watching Del Weston's Action on Film, and we're talking writers today. Come on back and get some. We'll be right back.
See, you said Hemingway. You said another, and then you couldn't express why, so you had to go to Hemingway.
I'm going to express why when I come back.
Well, why are you making me wait?
Longer than you know. It's not just you against the world.
I bet you say that to all the damsels in distress.
This is your last chance before things get crazy.
If you want my house, you have to fight me for it.
How could he have the whole place surrounded?
Yesterday, Sunny was a down-on-her-luck mom. Today, her luck continues to sink like a stone, as her boss decides to pay her an unexpected visit.
Must be a demonstration.
Happy Acres, where everyone deserves to be happy.
There's nothing like a blissful day in the country.
Mark challenged me. He welcomed me down a dark alley with a broken street lamp above our heads, rats scurrying in the darkness, trash bins over full and leaking, and a light mist of rain falling. And he said, "It's go time." Well, let me express to you
Forget
why
that
I
we
say
both had a sword each.
we had swords. The reason I say John Updike is the greatest writer is because of three things: Rabbit, Rabbit Run, and Rabbit is Rich. And those three books personified what it means to be an American man for generations. And Salinger may have written Catcher in the Rye, but too obscure and too difficult to define, and a film that was defined based in the time that it had been written and from pain and misery. And I think Rabbit, at least for me, gave us a direction not to follow. Shakespeare, people are still trying to understand.
Oh yeah, he said easy to
If you are
understand.
not a fan of iambic pentameter, it's very difficult. And I think that in order to be great, you have to be understood. Go ahead, Colleen.
Well, actors who can speak and read Shakespeare, that's the highest level to me, because they can make it all understandable.
Two roles stand out when you speak about Shakespeare. Anthony Hopkins in Titus, and Harry Lennox as Aaron the Moor in Titus. If you ever get the chance, go to YouTube and find Harry Lennox as Aaron the Moor. You will never see a better reading of Shakespeare in the history of your life. That's a guarantee. So Happy Acres came from a personal experience.
Yes.
And you decided to take the shot. And did you make the trailer or the whole film?
I made the trailer.
Sizzle reel.
Yes.
And why'd you do that? What gave you the impetus to make that leap from writer to filmmaker?
Seeing.
I love your eyebrows, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm talking to Mark. Go ahead.
Seeing the people I met at the AOF.
Really?
Pretty much. I started to take some seminars in producing and dabble in that. But when I got nominated for Happy Acres and came over to the AOF, I realized people in my category that I was nominated in had very impressive credentials.
They had very, I got to tell you a quick story, a little aside. I got accosted by a filmmaker, a writer, and he said, "How dare you? Don't you know who I am? My script wasn't even nominated, and I'm one of the great." And I'm looking at him, I'm just kind of sitting there and saying, "How dare you not nominate my work? Don't you? I've done this and I've won that, and I've felt the Nichols Fellowship." And I'm just looking at him, and he's going off, and I'm like, I said, "Hey, it didn't qualify. It wasn't that great. Simple as that. I'm not going to mince bones." A year later, I got another script from the same guy, and the script was really, really good. And the third year, he finally won, and his name is Christopher Cannoli.
I know him. Yep.
It's very strange. And see, the thing is, the way we grade scripts and judge scripts, reputation doesn't enter into the equation. Only what you put in front of us matters. That's why new people win all the time. They come up with some great concepts and incredible stories. You can win. I don't really care about your reputation, but when you go, "I beat that guy," you beat that guy. And it's an amazing thing.
Well, I had a chat with a writer in another category, and we met for the first time at the AOF, and I met a whole group of people. I could rattle off their names,
Right.
and they're doing very well.
Yeah.
But I said to him, I was looking up people on IMDb, and he said, I was doing the same thing. And then we said, look how happy everybody is. Look at the camaraderie.
Yep.
And we felt like we fit. Age-wise, and there's a spectrum of, we felt we fit. We fit in the group. It was just good.
I love to challenge the system to see if it works.
Sure.
I really do. What advice do you have for Colleen? As she's going into filmmaking now from a writing standpoint, because you did the same thing. You giant killer.
Well, no, giant killer.
No, the reason I say that is your film Behind the Gate won the Wrangler Award, and that's an award that was won by $50 million films and filmmakers who have histories that extended to the billions of dollars in generated income. That's not a small feat. I don't. You can play it down, but I won't. I like it. I'm thrilled.
Well, so am I. I'm thrilled about it. But I guess the advice I would have is the advice I would give anybody in the entertainment business is to keep following the passion that leads you. And don't let anybody turn you away from it. Because if they can, then you probably shouldn't continue to do it.
What's your advice for Mark? I'd love to hear this.
Well, have a great time accepting that Wrangler Award. And I don't know what advice I have. I'm impressed, and I'm happy to have met you. I'm glad you brought horse racing into the forefront.
You've got some interest in horses too, don't you?
Yeah.
Racing horses or just
in the
pleasure horses?
In the area that I'm from, well, I have a friend, a barn buddy, and she covers horse racing. She now moved to Oklahoma, but she'll cover the Derby for ESPN. She has a racehorse, and we'd be out riding, and then that spectrum of horses in the area is just, the different types of riding, the dressage and things like that. But I think one of the reasons you made your film is because you felt horse racing might be dying. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it is. My wife and I wanted to help in any way we thought was possible, and I think this film, if it's received properly, will help the industry, which was our goal.
So I just appreciate that, the recognition of bringing attention to the horse racing industry, but him doing this documentary, and you were a part of that documentary.
Actually, I got coffee for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a happy, silent voice in the assistance of helping to make that film, and I love those earrings.
Thank you.
You're watching Del Weston's Action on Film. We'll come back and talk to Colleen about what she wants you to know about her. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, but if you do, go straight to DelWestonOnFilm.com. Guess what you're going to find there? Yeah, me. Welcome back. What do you want people to take away from Happy Acres? What do you want to show people?
Well, what I did was a visual pitch of the screenplay. It was 30 scenes that I created in under 2 days. I cast it, I wrote the trailer, I scheduled it, and I want to hope that people want to come on board as a team to get a movie made. I'd like to have the right fit and representation. I'd like to develop other works that I have. I have a website.
What's the website?
It's hedgejumperpictures.com.
Hedgejumperpictures.com. Where does that come from?
Well, a friend of mine thought it up, and he liked to connect it a little bit to the horses.
I love that. Do you prefer working with men or with women?
That is a very good question.
I only ask good questions.
And it ties into what I write about. And what I write about...
Hey, I'm going to ask you that question again because that motorcycle.
And what I write about, I want men to see my work and to not think of what I do as chick flicks. And I've gotten good buzz about that, as a matter of fact, of guys, everyday guys saying, oh, I'd go see that. I want to see that. But to answer your question, it's difficult. I mean, in many ways, I certainly get along with men It depends. I mean, there are times when I've
like
had,
that? You see? Wait. You see what she did?
Yeah.
I've had job situations.
She thought of a couple of situations.
You got a little happy about it, yeah.
I've had
And then a couple that were pretty good.
Yeah.
That happens.
I've had some positive experiences and some not positive experiences
I think you should
with
write
both
about them.
with both men and women.
Right. I just noticed that there's this women power thing in film now, and I don't understand it. It would be like chopping off half the available workforce because you want to prove a point about one thing. I think it
agree.
requires everybody pulling the same way, rowing that boat.
A team, and strengths and weaknesses, and together.
What a pleasure having you here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
You've been watching Del Weston's
He didn't know the name of the show. He wanted to
because
change
you just
the name.
gave me a compliment. I'm usually used to getting kicked in the stomach after you fed me some ground glass. You misted me up a little bit.
Yeah, he's intimidating.
Hedgejumpers.com?
Hedgejumperpictures.com.
Hedgejumperpictures.com for the beautiful, the charming, the erudite, the incredible, the well-spoken, articulate, and fantastic writer, Colleen McQuaide, and Behind the Gate movie for the handsome and dashing Mark Giardino. And if you want to get in touch with the slug that I am, just go to DelWestonOnFilm.com and then wipe off the keys to your keyboard. It's disgusting. Goodbye.
I am the longtime owner of this house and the land on which your homes were built.
Give me my house, and there will be no more trouble.
That's it. This is war.
And that's how we roll.